Welcome. You're listening to the Keeping Ashland Healthy podcast, a podcast production of the Mental Health and Recovery Board of Ashland County, Ohio. Thanks for joining us. And welcome back to another episode of Keeping Ashland Healthy, an extra special episode because I am not by myself in the studio. There's somebody in the studio with me. Hopefully she's going to be here on a regular basis. I teased this a few episodes ago. I couldn't give you a name because it was top secret, super top secret. But now I can release to you, audience, the name of our newest hire here at the Mental Health and Recovery Board. Somebody who, like I said, will join me on these podcasts going forward because I've heard you listeners. You can't stand my voice. You need some more balance. So Alyse Schrader, welcome to the board, but also welcome to the Keeping Ashland Healthy podcast.
Yay! Thank you so much, David. I'm super excited to be here.
Well, Alyse is a very well-qualified, independently licensed social worker. She's been working in the Richland County area, and I just thought maybe say just a few things if you want, Alyse, and then we'll dive into our special episode about the conference.
Yes, I would love to. As David, you said, I'm an independently licensed social worker.
Yep.
I've been practicing since 2010. The last 12 years or so I've spent at Catalyst Life Services in Mansfield and had a variety of roles there. Did some individual counseling and also supervised a team of therapists and counselors and helped supervise our 16-bed withdrawal management detox facility.
Which we used a lot. I've talked to the audience about that. We've always had a good partnership with our friends in Richland County, and particularly that facility that you were helping to manage. So good job over there.
Thank you. I was really boots on the ground, so I'm really excited to bring that experience here. Yeah. Also, I have to plug in a little bit that I am a graduate of Ashland University.
Woo-hoo.
So it's cool to be back at my old stomping grounds.
That's awesome. Yeah, and we are doing a series of focusing on some of our partnerships with Ashland University, and I know the audience has been listening to those. So it is just a thrill to have you on board, Alyse, and what a way to start because we have our 17th annual RSVP conference, and it's the Pat Risser conference. Pat, as you may know, audience, was a board member in the past. He was a national advocate. Pat passed away some years ago. His widow, Trish, has been involved with the conference all along and continues to be. I'm pleased to say she should be at the event as she has been every year. But we really wanted to honor Pat's influence in our community. He helped start the conference with my former boss, Steve. So we want to talk about the conference. It's March 25th, and we're going to do our deep dive. This is our deep dive conference promo. So Alyse and I have the actual catalog. Nobody else has seen this, Alyse, just us. We're going to walk through it because the end result is I want to build, hopefully, some interest in more information about who's coming, what they're talking about. But I want you to register, audience. I am not shy about telling you that. I think you are going to learn a ton this March 25th at Ashland University's Convocation Center. We charge very little. Basically, Alyse, what we charge for, it pays for the mushroom soup. We've got meals, lunch, snacks, $25 if you don't need any continuing education. If you do want CEUs for counselors and social workers, $35, you'll get 4.25. It is still a bargain for everything for $35. So we try to reasonably price this thing. Again, we do have a levy that helps us subsidize some of these things, but community education awareness is something we're passionate about. It's one of the reasons I hired you, Alyse, because I know you are all about community education awareness as well.
Absolutely.
Well, the conference theme this year, we leaned into the national efforts around health and making Ashland healthy again is kind of our byline, but obviously on the federal level, they're looking at the entire country. But what excited me so much about that concept was, the board has always, Alyse, talked about things outside the ordinary, not just the medical model. So we've tried to embrace what we call other dimensions of wellness, and that's what we're going to lean into this year at the conference. So you ready to walk through this with me?
Let's do it.
Okay. So first thing, dimensions. We talk about dimensions of wellness, and people say, what are you talking about, David? So, physical wellness, people don't know. These are there's 6 of them I'm going to go through. Physical, mental, Emotional. Okay, you say those sound pretty reasonable. Then environmental, what? Social and spiritual. So we're going to go through all of those at the conference in one way, shape, or form. Some of the speakers will actually touch on more than one, but that's what we mean. There's all these different dimensions of wellness. It's not just one, and oftentimes we find individuals, maybe they're hitting one and neglecting the other five, and sometimes bringing balance in being emotionally well, spiritually well, environmentally well, socially well, as well as physically well and mentally well. All of those working together is what we're trying to talk about, that holistic approach. So we've got speakers and topics for all of those things. Here we go, conference schedule. When are we starting, Alyse? What time do folks have to get there?
The opening keynote is at 9 a.m., so
All right.
before 9.
Get there before 9, right? Because I'll do some housekeeping items like 8:50 to 9. Registration, though, technically starts at 8. So if folks want to get there at 8, but Alyse is right, the keynote actually doesn't talk until 9. But you know why they should get there early, Alyse?
The vendor tables.
The vendors.
The swag.
That's right. We are going to have, how many? It's like 13 or 14. 14 vendors this year. So we purposely reached out to folks that represented those 6 dimensions that I just mentioned of wellness. So we've got 14 vendors. So yeah, they need to get there right away, and some good giveaways. You mentioned that. So we encourage folks to get there right at 8 o'clock. But yes, the keynote starts at 9. So the lineup this year, yes, the keynote is an hour and 15 minutes. She's going to be wonderful. We'll talk about that, but I just wanted to do this schedule. Then we've got 2 sets of breakout sessions in the morning. So the first breakout session is from 10:25 to 11:15, and people say, David, why those time frames? Well, we've learned, Alyse, that most people, 45 minutes or so is about all that they want, and they want to switch gears. They want to take a break. They need either to go outside and walk, to get a drink, to use the restrooms, but 45 minutes tends to be a good amount of time. So that's why we scheduled it this way for most of the conference. So there'll be morning breakout sessions, number 1, and then beginning at 11:25 to 12:15, a whole nother set, 3 more breakout sessions in the morning. And then, yes, we break for an hour. I mentioned the mushroom soup.
It's famous. I've never had it. I'm really excited.
Yep. I've often said that we've built a conference around a soup. So come for the soup, stay for the presentations. So we'll have a lunch for an hour, and then they'll give folks to eat, but also to socialize, network, but then visit those vendors. After lunch, we've got another set of 2 breakout sessions. And then we are going to end with a plenary panel. So we thought it made some sense, the planning committee, to get everybody back together for the final plenary session. I'll probably moderate that with 4 or 5 of some of our presenters and wrap things up. All that, Alyse, by 3:05. And we're done. I mean, it's a full day, but I think it's not too long. And my hope is that folks will find it of value. And how can they not? We're going to go through some of the topics. We won't go through each one, audience, but we're going to go through some of the high level. But I just wanted to start with that schedule. So you've got our keynote in the morning at 9. You've got 2 sets of breakouts, lunch, another breakout, and then a plenary panel to wrap it up. So let's dive in. The conference history, T-word, we've got the last social media post that Pat Risser made. That is in there. We've got the history of the conference, Steve and my boss, former boss, Steve Stone, how they started the conference. We keep that in there every year, at least, because we don't want to forget where we came from, how we started.
Absolutely.
And we want all our new attendees. I may have mentioned this to you, but do you realize some folks have been coming every year?
That is amazing.
Right. For 17 years, they've been coming to this thing. So we appreciate those folks that have really been loyal RSVP attendees. So
it also goes to show how amazing this conference is.
Yeah, I think it makes a difference to folks. So course descriptions, the first one we want to talk about was our keynote, Dr. Melissa McCrae. And she is a DO, a doctor. And we asked Melissa specifically to keynote because, again, her views maybe not everybody will say they're mainstream, but to me, they're mainstream. They're what I hope will be the new mainstream. And she titled it, I love this, "The Collapse of Care and the Quiet Power of How We Live." And I want to read, I won't do this for each one, Alyse, but I did want to read a little bit that attendees will recognize that nutrition, sleep, movement, stress regulation, and social connection are foundational mental health interventions, not wellness add-ons or optional patient responsibilities. I just love that sentence, right? So she's going to talk about how some of these different elements are evidence-based. They are something that can be scaled up and used, essential to stabilizing an individual's physiology, reducing relapse risk, preventing downstream mental health crises. Attendees will obtain information to help them make more informed decisions about their overall health and well-being. So I couldn't think of a better way to kick off the conference than a keynote that's going to cover a lot of the things that will happen in the subsequent sessions.
So I love Dr. Melissa McCrae. I've actually been following her for her career for years, since she used to have a primary care office in Mount Gilead. I mean, years ago.
Yeah.
And she's one of those physicians that really looks at your lifestyle.
Yeah.
So if you come in and you have really high blood pressure, for example, she's not just going to throw a blood pressure pill at you and say, here, take this every day. She's going to say, oh my goodness, well, you're eating McDonald's twice a day. You have a very sedentary lifestyle, very high stress. Let's look at those things first before we add a medication on.
Yes.
And that really goes with the board's 3-leg philosophy of medication optimization.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and Alyse just said it. I mean, just now, audience, you might say, well, duh, David, that's just the way doctors are, and that's the way everybody practices. No, they do not. They do not. Some of them, because of time constraints, at least we've talked about this, but most docs, whether it's psychiatrist or primary, they have very limited amount of time with their patients. So oftentimes, they go to the quickest available, quote unquote, solution, and sometimes that's not what folks need. They need the doctor to spend a little time asking about their sleep and asking about their activity, asking about all those other dimensions that we're going to cover before coming up with a plan. So that was a good way to say it. So she's going to cover several things, including the systems that we are, well, at least here at the board, that we talk about the healthcare systems and some of the fragmentation, as well as some of the reforms that are needed. She's going to talk about how important a regulated nervous system is, as well as some of what she calls the basics, the backbone of healthcare. So I'm excited about hearing Dr. McCrae. I'm glad that you've heard her before. I went out and watched some videos, and I was impressed enough, and I was so glad that she was available to speak. So after that, we give folks like 10 minutes in between the sessions, the speakers, just again, so they can take a break, get some water, get some snacks, talk with folks, visit the vendors, and then boom, at 10:25, we're back. We're asking folks to pick. This is hard for some folks, at least. They have to pick. So these are 3 concurrent sessions in these morning breakout sessions. So folks can't go to all 3 at the same time. So they're going to have to pick. And they have to pick between Home as Healing, a practical theology that fosters spiritual wellness. So we wanted somebody from the college, actually, Josh Sumter, and he'll be on the podcast later this week, actually, but to talk about the spiritual aspect of wellness. So he'll be doing a breakout. Oh, our good friends over at Pathways, Deb Brookshire and Shannon Smalley, are going to be talking about personal medicine. Had you ever heard of that concept?
Honestly, I had never heard of that concept.
So Pat Deegan is a well-known figure in peer support and peer education. So I didn't know myself until we were going through the planning process, at least, that Shannon and Deb both had been trained up in the personal medicine concept. So they're going to present that. But essentially, it really is the individual taking control over their plan, their care plan, their health plan. And there's a definite way that Dr. Deegan prescribes, and they've been trained in it. So they're going to talk about that. And then Hunter Edwards, who again works at AU, Rest to Be Your Best, Optimizing Sleep for Work-Life Balance. And we were just talking about this, Alyse. We just sprang ahead and lost an hour. So, Hunter, speak to this. How many weeks does springing ahead impact us? But let me tell you, restorative sleep. So not just hours, but the quality of the sleep matters. And I've learned this over the years that you can sometimes sleep 10 or 11 hours, but technically if it's not good sleep, quality sleep, you still wake up and you're like, did I not just sleep for 10 hours?
Yeah.
Why do I still feel like this? So there's more to it. So Hunter will be speaking to us a little bit about how critical it is to optimize sleep for work-life balance. And ladies and gentlemen, you got to get your sleep, right?
Sleep hygiene.
Right. Who even knew that was a phrase?
I love that.
Yeah. All right. Then after those breakouts, 10-minute break, and then 3 more breakouts. Again, you have to make a decision, audience. Yoga and mindfulness, the quiet power of everyday care with Jen English. So she's going to explore some of these everyday choices that can quietly support physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Jen's going to talk a little bit about yoga. She is a practitioner, so you can ask very specific questions about how yoga and mindfulness can be helpful in your wellness journey. So Jen will be speaking about that. And then similar topic, fit body, fit brain. Ella Rasper will be talking to us about the critical nature of the connection between physical activity and our mental and emotional wellness. So Ella Rasper, fit body, fit brain. And then third, related, I see a pattern here, the power of the gut. A look at what we eat, the gut microbiome, and our health. You know, microbiome, that has been like a buzzword now ever since, Secretary Kennedy, before he was Secretary Kennedy, when he was even on the campaign trail running for president and then, supporting the current president. The microbiome, had you heard about that a few years ago, Alyse?
Is it pronounced microbiome or microbiome?
Oh, no, I think it's microbiome.
Is it? I've been saying it wrong, but yes.
Oh, no. The audience, no. I suppose it could be tomato, but I don't. I can't even say it the way you're saying it. Denise
It just
Reed,
rolls off my tongue.
Does it? It should not, Alyse. Denise Reed will be our speaker for that. But here's what she said, just a little bit. What we choose to eat has a significant impact on our health. Hello? Lately, more and more research has been emerging about the gut microbiome's impact on inflammation, disease management, and mental health. One way to influence positive growth of the gut microbiome is through food. So, again, recently, Secretary Kennedy and others at the FDA and CDC, we've got to do pyramid. Mm-hmm. Have you seen this, Alyse?
I have, yes.
Okay. And they basically flipped it. So, let's focus on protein and let's focus maybe a little bit less on some of the starches and the carbs. Mm-hmm. But all of, there are things that can hurt the biome. There are things that can help. Most folks in the audience have heard about maybe prebiotics or probiotics. Mm-hmm. These are things that are help. And people, David, is this woo-woo? Yes, it's woo-woo in Ashland, but it's good stuff. There is a lot of science behind these things. So if you're not physically healthy, it's really, really hard. I would say maybe impossible to be mentally and emotionally healthy. Mm-hmm. All these different dimensions work together. And if you're desperately poor in one area, you're probably going to feel the effects in the other dimensions as well. So Denise Reed will be talking to us about the power of the gut. And maybe Denise will decide the way to pronounce microbiome or that other crazy way that Alyse was pronouncing it. All right. Then we will break for that lunch. Like I said, it'll be a buffet lunch. With the soup. I really encourage folks to stay all day, but definitely stay through lunch. And then they'll have a chance to visit all those vendors that we mentioned earlier. In the afternoon, so we are going to repeat Jen yoga and mindfulness session, and then we're going to do something else that's I think is going to be pretty popular. It's called Beyond the Best. Sheriff's Office is is involved with some canine therapy. Sergeant Angie Hamilton and Deanna Skelton are going to be with us, as well as their compatriots. And I think their names are Princess and Tazzy. So, yes, audience, if you want to learn more about, just emotional support animals, service dogs in this specific case, you might want to come to the Beyond the Vest session. I think that is going to be exciting. Alyse, if I can share, I think you're pretty knowledgeable about equestrian horse therapy and
Love
horses.
horses.
And the board funds some equestrian and therapy through Appleseed, and they work with a vendor on that. But it's interesting, the animals, right? And different animals are sensitive in different ways. And when I went through my training with the horses, you tell me if this was wrong. The lady said she was telling us the truth, but they said the horses could really pick up on our energy and our moods and how we were doing. Is that true?
It's so true. They are so sensitive.
Yeah.
And they can tell even how fast our heart is beating. Something that's really neat is because they're such a large animal, their hearts beat very slowly. And when we get close to a horse, our hearts automatically try to match that beat. So that's why they're natural anxiety reducers, is it slows our heart rate down.
Wow, just being around them.
They're very cool.
Yeah, well, that's a program through Appleseed that we've been funding. The board's been funding for some years, and now that you're on board, I'm hoping, Alyse, that we can strengthen and maybe grow that program, because we've seen success. Yes, with our younger kids is how we started it, particularly those in children's services, foster care system, that were traditional talk therapy just wasn't a good fit.
Yes.
But with the horses getting involved, we saw some breakthroughs. But then we started branching out to the law enforcement and military, some of the folks that have trauma histories, and they find it helpful as well. So we're going to continue to try to expand that. But I know we're not going to have horses, but it's the same concept, because the officers are using some of these animals. Some people have heard maybe some of these prison programs where they have cats or dogs in the prisons, and what a huge difference it makes to the folks there. These animals are really incredible.
Animals are powerful.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then last but not least, we're going to have a plenary panel. Like I said, I'll probably facilitate that. We'll have 3 or 4 speakers, maybe 5, whoever wants to be part of the party. And we'll just do a brief recap of the day and maybe ask some practical questions about where folks can go to get more information or actually participate in the things we talked about all day. And I think that'll be an important way to conclude, because there's nothing worse, I think, Alyse, when you go to a conference, they talk about all these pie in the sky things, and then you're like, well, where can I go to get this, or where can I refer? And they're like, oh, well, we don't have it in your area yet. Coming soon.
Yes.
Well, we tried to be intentional about making sure that almost all the things we talk about, if not all the things we're talking about, are available in the Ashland County area. So we want to talk through that in that concluding plenary session. So, doesn't that sound like a cool day?
It sounds amazing. I'm really excited to be part of it.
I think it might be one of our better lineups. We had my little cheat sheet here. It says, the RSVP conference has always been about hope, recovery, and practical solutions. And this year's lineup may be one of the most inspiring yet. So all that to say, I think it is. I think, the lineup, the different subject matter experts that we have in the different topics, it might be. We've had some strong conferences over the last 16 years. So this is a big one. I am super excited. So people they're ready now. At least they want to register. How on earth should they register for this thing? What's the easiest way you think? The
easiest way would be to visit our website.
I agree.
Of course.
AshlandMHRB.org.
Yes.
Yep. Or they can call us, right?
Just give us a call.
Yeah. All right. 419-281-3139. Perfect. 419-281-3139 or AshlandMHRB.org. So now, audience, my plea is don't wait. Register today, Alyse, because the college needs us to call in our count like a week before the event. So don't wait, audience. We need to know if you're coming. So you're probably hearing this the week of March 9th. So don't wait. Register this week. And we've got social media posts. We got things on the website. You're going to hear us on the radio, on iHeart. But we want to see you. Alyse and I will both be there. She can start to autograph things. Nobody wants my autograph, but you want to swing by the Mental Health and Recovery Board's booth.
Yes.
You'll see Alyse there, myself, some of the other board staff will be running around. I want to thank all the folks that were involved with the planning of the conference, all my board members that have been involved. Alyse, I am so excited about this year's RSVP conference. It is unlike anything we've done before with all these dimensions of wellness. Folks should come out for this for sure.
Absolutely. And I'm really excited to be on board
Yes.
at this time. This is an exciting time to come on. No pun intended. So, yeah.
Well, everybody, RSVP conference, March 25th. It's at Ashland University's Convocation Center. $25 if you don't want CEUs and you just want to experience all the speakers and lunches and snacks. $35 if you want the 4.25 CEUs. It is a bargain. Come out and see us. And Alyse, welcome to the program. Welcome to the board. I'm looking forward to many more conversations with you.
Thank you. I'm excited.
See ya.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Keeping Ashland Healthy podcast. The podcast is a production of the Mental Health and Recovery Board of Ashland County, Ohio. You can reach the board by calling 419-281-3139. Please remember that the board funds a local 24/7 crisis line through Appleseed Community Mental Health Center. It can be reached by calling 419-289-6111. That's 419-289-6111. Until next time, please join us in Keeping Ashland Healthy.